Why are we over
But
here?
Not y'all, not
He
y'all.
tells us we can't take pictures here, but they can. But we can't. Like, they literally sent us out when we came to take pictures, and these girls are taking pictures, and they're literally letting them. That's crazy.
Some of us came from close out of Calgary. Some people are stand up in lines. Some people are sit and cry.
This is normal. So like when the race change, the rules change. I'm using this because it's a small thing, but this is pretty much in every facet of America. I can't think of one that it's not. And this is the thing where um, we talk about America and even a racial part of it, but part of this is the rules. You know, we have to abide by the Constitution, we have to abide by the laws of the land, and we have to abide by the laws of this city and this state and this province. And what happens is, um, even if the rules are there, the rules change. You get what I'm saying? By race. And the part of this video where the guy just got his back turned while the other ladies are taking pictures, that's part of the oh, okay, I get it. You know, you racist, cool. We've seen this in schools, right? Um, with one group of kids get told to sit down for another group of kids get security called on them or suspended. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's the same thing. And it's part of and I say that using a school reference because school is part of training you for America. And you've seen it time and time again. Like I referenced that video of um when they have the experiments and they do it with black people and white people, you see the vast difference. It really doesn't matter. I remember they had the experiments with the guys walking with guns. You know, he's it's my second amendment right to have a gun. It's like Washington, the state of Washington or something like that. I forget where, but it was somewhere like out there, Oregon, something like that. And the guy got approached by the cops of course, as they should have. I was like, "Why are you doing this, man? What's going on? You walking around with a gun?" They're having a conversation for him with him, and they know it's some bullshit antagonizing because you shouldn't be walking around in public with a gun. He had a rifle, so but nothing really happened to the guy. So then they changed the experiment, and there's a black guy walking. Cop cars pulled up, drew their weapons. He was face down on the ground. They didn't shoot him, but he got face down on the ground. Oh, you got a gun. And it's like, yeah, man, we get it, man. The way y'all look at rules and implement rules and defend the rules is completely different. You know, I've talked about that um when it comes to like self-defense. If a situation happens and let's just say a black guy starts to fight with a white guy and the white guy takes his life. White people generally gonna say that's self-defense. But if a white guy, starts a fight and assaults a black guy and the black guy takes his life, they're gonna normally say, "Oh, that's wrong. You don't have to do that. You went too far." And it's like, yeah, I get it, man. You're inconsistent. You get what I'm saying? And I say that this happens in different aspects. I remember doing a video about this a long time ago because when people like to talk about in America, you have to compete. You know, you have to be smarter and stronger. You have to put yourself out there to get an opportunity, which I get it. I definitely agree. And I remember when people was like, the reason why black folks aren't excelling is because they're not smart enough, or they don't study hard enough. And if they would just study hard enough, it'd just be we wouldn't have an issue. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw this story about Orange County in California where Asians moved in, and the Asian children were students, and they were doing better in school than the white kids in Orange counties. And basically, it was white flight. The families up and moved because So in essence, what I'm saying is we know the rules change. People say one thing and they do another when race is involved. Generally, I know there's exceptions to the rule, but generally, that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? That concept of, even when we used to go out, no shirts, no ball caps, no sneakers. That was generally that was for black people, because white people was walking in with shirts, shorts and sneakers and baseball hats. They never had an issue. You get what I'm saying? Never. I've never seen them. Hey, you got to take that. Never seen that. Same thing when people say that about restaurants. It's the same issue. Oh, no this, no that, no this, you can't go. And it's like, bro, I see these people right here are wearing pretty much the same thing. And it's like, no, but the way you wear it is different. You get what I'm saying? That's the thing. Do y'all remember when Ryan Coogler went into that bank and asked for and was getting his money? It was like, do it discreetly. And the lady called the cops on him. That, and I said it because there's another video recently of a black dude who was sitting in his car waiting for the bank to open, and they called the cops on him. But generally speaking, you don't see. Generally speaking, you don't see white people getting the cops called on them for waiting on the bank to open. You don't see that as a story, because it's like, oh, he's waiting here, and it's like, yeah, I knew it. I knew it. The rules change, and a lot of times the issue with this stuff is about people being inconsistent. Generally, people will come up with an excuse. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of that, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. And because life is life, and things happen, you wind up finding that same scenario in the opposite way. And then it's like, oh, I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's different because, well, you don't understand. It's like, no, I understand pretty well. The rules are different. Like thinking about recently doing that video about January 6th, and now they want to give those folks money. But I remember the conversation about January 6th when it was like, yo, if black people would have did January 6th, I'm pretty sure the National Guard would have been there and shot them. And people go, and people go, I don't. You're just making up stuff. But then if you're black, you go, no, I remember. It wasn't that long ago when black people were protesting, and y'all had militarized armed tanks, armed vehicles and rifles and snipers. And we're not exaggerating. You get what I'm saying? Because the rules change. Even compare that to the No Kings protest. It's like, we didn't have a single incident. Yeah, I know you didn't. Because you probably did, but it didn't count. You know what I mean? Because it was white people generally, and you're not gonna approach them the same way. It's the same thing as when you see a lot of times people get pulled over, and that I think I smell marijuana. That's usually what cops do to black people. You don't really see. I smell marijuana in the car. Yeah, get out of the car. You don't see that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that. You don't see that. I think something's wrong. Yeah, I think you might be committing a crime. That's generally not what happens. And I say that even with the violent aspect of it. Who was the guy? Is it Luigi Mangione? I be want to say Mario, but that's the guy that took the life of that corporate I think he was a CEO, corporate CEO of I think United Health. And people were like, yo, he just walked up, popped him, walked off. And it was like the city that they couldn't find him. They don't know what happened. Oh, he just got away. And it's like, yeah. And people go, yeah, because he's white. Like you can get away, you can make an escape like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the same premise with like the affluenza case. That's the thing. It's like the rules aren't actually the rules because the rules change when you change the race. Same thing when you can say gender, like if a man hits a woman, he's going to jail. If a woman hits a man, not a big deal. It's the same rule. Abuse has the same rules, the same laws, but when you swap the genders, the reaction is completely different. So, you know, people like to play that game, but it doesn't exist. But because of social media, it's a constant pop up that this happens. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.